Okay, YouTube, I've got a Adelitas Way album review. I almost said Adelitas. That's what I thought it was, but it's Adelitas Way. And I'm reviewing their 2009 album. So this was their debut. And as with most debut albums, it has two singles off of it. Now, really, first song, Invincible, is a pretty thick song. It's definitely a sharp one that you're going to want to hear. It gets to the point where its heaviness reminds me of Rob Zombie, and that's good for a first single. That's definitely something that you're going to want to pick up on pretty quickly. Now, obviously, if you know Adelita's Way, the main thing about that is really their bigger album is their 2011 project, Homeschool Valedictorian. Now that one they caught on pretty quickly, but I think they're on their fifth album and they've spun their wheels a little bit. It feels as if their best days are behind them, but I don't want to quite say that just because they've really only been here since 2009. So second album caught on really quickly. Their next album after that, which I think came out in, I know one came out in 2004 or 2012, and then one came out in 2016. So it might have been 2014 actually. So that was the album that didn't catch on. So really, first talking about Invincible, that's a must-have song. I definitely feel like that's good enough to almost purchase this album for, but obviously one song out of 11 is not going to cut it. So the second single, Last Stand, takes the alternative metal approach like most of them do, and you get that feel from it, but it just ran out of steam too quickly. So I feel like that's a good backup song, but it's not as essential as Invincible was. I feel like the more you listen to this project, you're going to feel songs. It just felt like they switched the energy a little bit too soon, and that felt like kind of a clumsy move. It probably appealed to some audiences, but I feel like there's no reason why you should make sure that you put out two singles. I think really going for three and just doing it would have been, I'm not trying to, you know, correct them, but, listening to this album, it feels as if there probably were more songs. So one of which is Just a Little Bit. That one is pretty similar to Invincible. Somehow it seems as if I don't think people got sick of Invincible that quickly. So really, if there would have been that song, obviously, that's the main idea. So, in my opinion, it feels like the album needed another song like Invincible, and it definitely would have. That's a standard problems to have a hard rock first single and then alternative metal second one, and really we could have used two metal songs. I think that would have probably done it. And I think their songs, Scream was a promotional single, and that one definitely works pretty well. That one feels more like you're getting ready to do something, like you're ready, like, oh, that's the kind of song that you listen to as the night moves on. It's not really in the night as much as Invincible kind of is, but I do feel like Scream, that's one of the best songs. The first four songs really have, those are where most of the heat is, but I wanted to pick out a few other ones because I wound up liking 7 songs out of 11. So thing was Last Stand is the alternative metal, but they really don't do that much. They do some they do some songs like Brother and Closer to You that slow things down, and it feels more like softer pop rock more so than anything else. I'd say that there might be another one like All Falls Down that does that, but alternative metal is kept in small demand. It's really either hard songs, and they kind of remind me of Papa Roach somewhat. That's someone who I was picking up on. Like, I got Rob Zombie a little bit, but then there's really not a song like it besides Just a Little Bit. And and Scream possibly. So I'd probably say that they kind of remind me of like a almost like a reproduction of Papa Roach. And as far as that's concerned, it just is missing the song like Last Resort in order to really bank with it, or one of those songs. But this is still a good project. It's gonna get a high score, so that takes care of those songs. So I'm going to list the 7 songs that you need to hear. They are Invincible, Scream, Dirty Little Thing, Last Stand, So What If You Go, Just a Little Bit, and the song I was on the fence about was My Derailment. Now, this is one of the songs that sounds like Papa Roach, and I just kind of felt like, Papa Roach has done it better, so that, and I just don't know how many folks are going to turn to that song versus songs like Invincible and Scream. So I'm going to give this album a 7.5 out of 10. And that's pretty solid. Minus 4 songs. It probably was virtually an 8, but just needed probably one more song to get that. And so I'll talk about a few other ones. Dirty Little Thing is kind of similar to Scream, but just calmer. And then So What If You Go is another song that is pretty upbeat and motivating, but the energy really never matches that first song for the most part. So it's metal, but it just feels kind of like, I don't want to say alternative metal, but more like soft metal. Just the type stuff that Trapped and Papa Roach do, and a few of these other folks. So that's just what to expect. Maybe even Daughtry in some cases, but they don't get nearly as soft as them. So yeah, the social score I'm going to give a 4 out of 10, is because I know this was their debut, but why not go for broke first time? I guess it was really just the aftermath of Last Stand not hitting as hard as it did as the reason why. But really, like I was saying before, I think another song like Invincible would have nailed it further, because Invincible is a hot song. So, but the social score means how well it plays around your friends. I mean, if you introduce this to them, what they'll think of it. And so, can this record be topped? It probably could by just a hair. I mean, it almost feels scattershot, because you're going to have to listen to it to find the songs that you're going to be replaying over and over. It may seem like the first 4 songs are, but it just depends upon your mood that's going to really switch it up and make you wonder what song you want to hear most. I definitely feel like Invincible is one, but it's just kind of tricky. So, but the future, they're going to drop an album somewhere in the spring. So it's called Notorious. So I'm on the lookout for that. Subscribe for more fun.